The package arrives. The night was quiet. Stars glowed above the city domes, and neon lights flickered softly across the streets of New Terra. Inside his small apartment on the 37th floor, Jack, a lonely human engineer, stared at the blinking light on his delivery console. "Package delivered at the door," the voice said. Jack stood up from his workbench and stretched his sore back. "Finally," he muttered. He had ordered a smart pet from an alien online auction, something cheap for company. It was advertised as a low-maintenance creature with basic speech learning, light cleaning abilities, and emotional response. Jack thought it would be a robotic bird, or maybe a soft creature that beeped when sad. Nothing big. He opened the door. A long gray crate waited outside, taller than he expected. Metal chains wrapped the sides, and it had no brand label. Just a glowing symbol. Unit 874, Category X, live product. His brow tightened. "Live?" He dragged the crate inside, surprised by its weight. He used a crowbar to snap the locks, then slowly opened the lid. His breath caught in his throat. Inside lay a young alien girl, curled up like a frightened animal. Her skin was light blue with glowing veins that shimmered softly. She had long, silver-white hair, tangled and messy. Strange markings ran across her thin arms, and a metallic collar glowed red around her neck. Her large eyes blinked open, filled with fear. Jack stepped back in shock. No, this can't be right. The girl didn't move. She only stared, frozen in place like a scared cat. Jack grabbed his tablet and checked the order again. It clearly showed, Smart Pet Unit, Emotion-Linked Companion, Bio-Enhanced, No Speech Module. He looked back at the girl. "This isn't a pet. This is a person," he whispered. He tried speaking gently. "Hey. It's okay. I didn't mean to scare you. Can you understand me?" No response, but her eyes followed his hand as he reached toward her. The moment he touched her collar, she flinched and let out a soft gasp, then quickly curled tighter, trembling. Jack pulled his hand back. Something was very wrong. He grabbed a blanket and gently placed it over her. She didn't fight. Her eyes closed slowly, like she hadn't felt warmth in a long time. Jack called the auction company, but the signal was blocked. Every number, every help link, gone. It was a fake site. He sat down on the couch, breathing heavily. What have I brought into my home? An hour passed. Jack kept his distance but watched her carefully. She hadn't moved. Still curled, still quiet. He brought a bowl of warm soup and placed it on the floor near her. He left the room pretending not to look. A few minutes later he returned and the bowl was empty. She had eaten. That was something. He slowly approached again and sat on the floor nearby. "My name is Jack," he said softly. "I won't hurt you. I thought I was buying a pet, not this. You shouldn't be here." She looked at him. Her eyes were sad, old, like someone who had seen too much pain. Jack pointed to himself. "Jack," then pointed to her. "You?" No answer. He sighed. "I guess you don't talk, or maybe they made sure you couldn't." His gaze went to the collar again. It had alien symbols on it. He took a photo and ran a scan through his translator. The results came back with one horrifying word: property. Jack's chest tightened. He knew what this was now. Someone out there was selling living beings as entertainment pets, disguised under legal loopholes, creatures no one would question. He had just paid for slavery without knowing it. She wasn't a robot or a pet. She was a stolen soul. That night, Jack made a bed on the couch and gave her his room. She didn't understand at first, but when he pointed and gently guided her, she walked slowly to the soft mattress. Her steps were weak, like she hadn't walked properly in weeks. She lay down, watching him carefully, waiting for him to close the door. He did, slowly. Jack sat on the couch, holding his head. "I'm not letting them take you back," he whispered. "Whoever you are, you're safe now, I promise." He didn't know what would happen tomorrow, but he knew one thing. He had just become the guardian of something far more important than a pet. He had to protect her, even if it cost him everything. She won't speak, but she watches. Jack woke up to silence. Not the usual city hum or the buzz of his machines, but an unnatural quiet, like someone was holding their breath. He sat up on the couch and looked toward the hallway. She was there. The alien girl. Wrapped in the blanket he gave her, just standing, watching. She didn't blink, didn't move. Just watched him with those glowing, soft blue eyes like she was trying to understand him. Or read his thoughts. Jack gave a nervous smile. Morning. She didn't answer. But her head tilted slightly, curious. Still no emotion. Jack rubbed his face. You don't sleep much, do you? She stayed silent. But when he stood up, she took one small step back. Not afraid. Just alert. Her thin arms stayed wrapped tightly around herself like she was cold even in the warmth. Jack sighed and walked past her slowly, heading to the kitchen. He poured water into 2 cups, one for himself, one for her. He placed the second cup on the table and looked at her. Here, he said gently. She stepped forward, hesitant. Then slowly she reached out, took the cup, and held it carefully with both hands. Her fingers shook slightly. She brought it to her lips and drank. Jack watched, more amazed than ever. You understand. You're aware. You're not a machine. She finished the cup, then looked down, guilty, maybe, or confused. Jack sat at the table. You're not a pet. You're a person, but they treated you like a thing. Still silence. Then Jack had an idea. He stood up and walked to his workshop corner. He pulled out a small learning tablet, a device used to teach kids, and bought simple words using images and sounds. He turned it on and placed it in front of her. It showed a picture of a cat. The voice said, "Cat." She stared at it. Next, a picture of fire. Fire. She blinked. A faint flicker of recognition. He tapped the screen again. This time, it showed a human. Human. She looked at Jack, then back to the screen. Her finger trembled as she reached out and tapped the next picture. Food. Food. Jack smiled. You learn fast. She tapped it again, and again. Food. 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 Then her eyes slowly lifted to his, and for the first time, she spoke, not loudly, not clearly, just a whisper of a word. Food. Jack's eyes widened. You said something, he whispered. She pulled back slightly like she'd done something wrong. Her hands shook, and she clutched the tablet to her chest. Jack knelt down, holding up his palms. It's okay. It's good. You did great. She blinked again, then pointed at him. Slowly, quietly, she tried. Man. He smiled, heart pounding. Yes, human. That's me. Then she touched her own chest, thought for a moment, then shook her head. She had no name. Jack pointed to her gently. Can I give you a name? She didn't move. I'll call you Leary. Her head tilted again. Lee? He nodded. Yes, Leary. You're safe here, Leary. And then, something unexpected. She smiled, just a tiny smile, but real, fragile. That evening, Jack started doing repairs on a drone in the corner. Leary sat nearby, curled in a blanket, watching his every move. She didn't speak again, but she watched everything. Her eyes followed the wires, the sparks, the tools, like she was trying to learn how it all worked. Jack felt it. She wasn't just curious, she was intelligent. Suddenly, a strange sound echoed from outside, a loud buzzing, followed by a sharp clang against the window. Jack ran to check. A drone, marked with a black symbol, unregistered. It hovered, scanned the apartment, and flew away. He shut the window quickly. His heart raced. What the hell was that? Then he realized. Someone might be tracking her. He turned to Leary. She had already backed into the corner, hugging her knees tightly, rocking slowly. She knew. She wasn't just scared of the world outside. She was scared they might come back. Jack knelt beside her and placed a hand gently on her shoulder. "I won't let them take you." Her glowing eyes looked into his. No words came, but her hand slowly reached out and touched his chest. Just once. Soft. Shaky. But full of meaning. She was trying to say something without speaking. "Thank you." That night, Jack locked every door, reinforced his security systems, and erased the crate's tracking signature. He knew now that this wasn't a simple mistake. Someone out there wanted her back, and they wouldn't care what they had to do to get her. But Jack had made a silent promise he would protect Leary, no matter what came next. The collar and its secret. The night air inside Jack's apartment felt heavier than usual. Leary had fallen asleep on the floor near the heater, wrapped in her blanket. Her breathing was soft, steady, but Jack knew she wasn't at peace. Every now and then her fingers would twitch, her face flinch like she was trapped inside a dream she couldn't escape. Jack couldn't sleep. His eyes were fixed on the strange metal collar around her neck. It still glowed a dull red, like a warning light that never turned off. "What are you really hiding?" he whispered to the collar. Jack sat at his desk and connected his tools. He wasn't just an engineer. He was a fixer, a breaker, a code cracker. He had taken apart alien weapons, smuggler tech, even military bots. But this collar, it felt different. Alive. He scanned it from a distance. The signal was locked under biological encryption, keyed to Leary's DNA. Any forced removal could cause her pain or worse, he frowned. "No way I'm yanking it off. Gotta find the key." He copied the collar's code and ran it through his decryption software. As the machine worked, he glanced back at Leary. She turned in her sleep. The red light on the collar pulsed faster. His screen blinked. Match found. Slave mark unit, 1437 to B. Galactic trade code. Black class status. Owned. Tracked. Punishment. Enabled. Jack's blood ran cold. Punishment? He opened the file history. A hologram suddenly flickered from the collar's copied data, an auto-recording. The screen glowed, and the room filled with voices. Alien voices, shouting, mocking. Leary, much younger, barely clothed, chained, stood in the center of a metal room while a crowd of alien buyers pointed and laughed. One of them snapped his fingers and a long shock rod struck her back. She fell and screamed. Jack jumped up and shut off the screen immediately. Leary gasped awake, eyes wide with terror. He turned to her. "Leary, no, it's okay. I didn't mean..." But she was already crawling back, pressing herself into the wall, breathing fast. Jack knelt down, hands up. "I didn't know it would show that. I'm sorry." Tears welled up in her eyes, but she didn't cry. She just sat, shaking, silent. Jack's heart broke. "That collar, it's hurting you," he said quietly. "It's more than a tracker. It's a leash, a memory trap." She looked at him, confused but listening. He pulled a small device from his drawer and placed it on the floor between them. "This," he explained, "can rewrite the collar's signal. Not remove it yet, but maybe block the pain and shut off the tracking." Leary stared at it. Then slowly she nodded. It was the first time she had given him permission. The process began. Jack worked gently, using small connectors to touch the side of the collar. He avoided direct contact, not wanting to trigger anything. Leary stayed still, eyes closed, trusting him. As he worked, the screen showed more locked files. One caught his eye. Voice access code. Attempt translation. He tapped yes. A voice played, deep and cruel. "This unit responds to pain. Speech was denied for failure to obey. Emotional resets applied thrice. Memory errors remain. Future. Owner warned product may resist bonding." Jack clenched his fists. They didn't just collar her. They tried to erase her, her thoughts, her words, her soul. Suddenly the collar glowed white, then dimmed to gray. The light was gone. Leary opened, her eyes blinking. The room felt quieter, lighter. She reached up and touched the collar. No shock, no resistance. Jack smiled. I think I shut it down. She looked at him, eyes wide. Then slowly, carefully, she removed the collar herself and dropped it on the floor. It clanged. She stared at it like it was a ghost. Jack reached out and picked it up with gloves. We'll keep it as proof, but you don't wear this ever again. Leary looked at her bare neck. She touched it. Then she exhaled, not in fear, in relief. That night they sat together on the floor. Jack gave her a simple necklace, a small silver chain with a smooth, round stone. It wasn't expensive, but it was human. Not to track you, he said softly. To remind you you're free. Leary touched it, then looked up at him. Her lips moved. Free. Jack nodded. Yes, free. A tear finally fell from her eye. But this time it wasn't from pain. It was from hope. Learning to be human. The morning sun peeked through the dusty windows of Jack's small apartment. For the first time, Leary was awake before Jack, but not to watch in fear. She stood in front of the mirror in his room, tilting her head left and right. Her fingers traced her now bare neck. No collar, just smooth skin and the silver necklace Jack had given her, she whispered to herself in broken words. Free. Leary. Human. Her voice still sounded strange to her own ears, but it was hers again. When Jack finally woke up, he heard a loud crash from the kitchen. He ran in. Heart pounding, only to stop in surprise. Leary stood there holding a broken mug in one hand and a towel in the other. Milk dripped down the counter. Her eyes were wide with guilt. Jack blinked, then laughed softly. Trying to help? Leary nodded fast, looking down. Jack smiled. It's okay. That was an ugly mug anyway. He grabbed a new towel and began cleaning. To his surprise, Leary joined in without being asked. They cleaned the mess in silence together. Later that day, Jack set up the learning tablet again. But this time, instead of showing objects, he used pictures of emotions. The screen showed a smiling face. Happy, the voice said. Leary mimicked the smile, awkward, but real. Then came a crying face. Sad. Leary looked away. Jack changed the image, a person laughing. Funny. Leary tilted her head, then pointed at Jack. Man. Funny. He raised an eyebrow. Me? Funny? She nodded quickly. Jack? Funny. Jack couldn't help but laugh. Well, at least someone thinks so. Days passed. Jack started teaching her how to cook small meals. She wasn't strong enough to lift heavy things, but she was clever. She watched everything, learned fast, and even surprised him by fixing a loose wire in his cleaning bot without being told. You're a fast learner, Jack said one evening. Were you always like this? Before they took you? Leary hesitated. Then she pointed to her head. Memory. Fog. Jack nodded. We'll fix that too. One step at a time. She smiled. But while their bond grew stronger, danger was growing closer. Far away, deep in an alien network, a tracker pinged. Not from the collar, but from a hidden signal inside the crate Jack had thrown out days ago. Someone had picked it up, and someone powerful had noticed Leary's signal was no longer responding. They sent out a command to nearby bounty guilds, retrieve the product. Destroy the thief. Back in the apartment, Leary sat at the window watching children play in the street below. She turned to Jack. Jack, why do they laugh? He looked out with her. Because they're free. Happy. No one's hurting them. Leary was silent for a moment. Then softly, I want to laugh like that. Jack looked at her. You will? Later that night, she tried something new. She picked up a small brush and walked to Jack. She pointed to his hair. Messy, she said with a tiny grin. Jack laughed. Is it? Okay. Fix it then. She gently brushed his hair, carefully, avoiding the tools tucked behind his ears. Her movements were slow, thoughtful. Jack sat still. He realized this wasn't just fun for her. It was her way of learning touch, trust, care. When she was done, she stepped back. "Better," she said with pride. "You're becoming more human every day," Jack said. She tilted her head. "Alien? Becoming human?" He nodded. "Kindness makes us human, not blood." Leary thought deeply about that. Then, "You made me human." Jack's eyes softened. "No, Leary, you were always human. In the ways that matter." That night, as they ate dinner together, Leary suddenly burst out laughing. Jack stared at her. "What's funny?" She pointed at the tablet. The learning app had misread an alien fruit and called it exploding meatball. Jack laughed too. "Okay, that's actually pretty funny." For the first time, Leary laughed like the children outside. Free, loud, pure. Jack realized something then. She wasn't just learning to be human, she was remembering how to live. But across the galaxy, someone had already found her location, and they were coming with weapons, with fire, and with a price on both their heads. The bounty hunters arrive. The night felt strange. Jack couldn't explain it, but something was wrong in the air. Too still, like the world was holding its breath. Leary was fast asleep on the couch, curled under her favorite blanket. She had painted a small flower on the wall that day. Her laugh still echoed in Jack's ears. It was the first time she had called this place home, but Jack couldn't sleep. He checked his sensors twice, then 3 times. No alerts. Still. He loaded his old plasma pistol and placed it on the table. At 2:43 a.m., the alarm tripped. A red flash blinked on his control panel. Unauthorized motion. Level 37 window access. Jack jumped to his feet. The window didn't break. It melted. Silent. Clean. Professional. 3 dark figures slipped in. Bounty hunters. Armored, faceless, and fast. One scanned the room with glowing red eyes. Target located. Unit L1437 detected. A robotic voice said. Leary stirred. Then she opened her eyes, froze, and screamed. Jack moved before he could think. He grabbed the plasma gun and fired. The first shot hit the wall. The second, direct hit to one intruder's helmet. Sparks flew. The hunter dropped. "Protect the asset," the second shouted, raising a stun baton. Jack shouted, "Leary, run!" She hesitated, eyes wide with fear. "Go!" She dashed toward the hallway as the third bounty hunter lunged at her. Jack tackled him, slamming his head into the table. The apartment became chaos. Furniture exploded. Tools scattered. The security lights blinked and died. One hunter grabbed Jack by the throat and lifted him. "You broke the contract. Interfering with owned property is a Class 5 crime." Jack coughed, blood on his lip. "She's not property." He kicked the wall-mounted energy box. It overloaded, sparking out blue light. The burst shocked the hunter's armor, forcing him to drop Jack. Jack rolled across the floor and yelled, "Leary, now!" She reappeared from the shadows, eyes burning with panic, but in her hands was something new. Jack's old plasma wrench. She swung it as hard as she could into the third hunter's face. His visor cracked. He groaned and fell. Jack's eyes widened. "Where did you learn?" "Watching," Leary said, breathless. Jack grinned. "Remind me never to make you angry." Only one hunter remained. He aimed a blaster at Leary. "Come with me or the human dies." Jack stepped in front of her, arms wide. "You'll have to shoot through me." The hunter hesitated, then spoke into a communicator. Target resisted. Human interference confirmed. Permission to terminate. A cold alien voice replied. Granted. Leary gasped. "No!" The blaster charged, and suddenly, Leary screamed a word. A strange, powerful word in her alien tongue. The hunter froze. His body began to shake, metal armor shivering. Then, his helmet lights shut down. He dropped to the floor, lifeless. Jack stared in shock. "What did you do?" Leary stood still, her hands trembling. Old word. From my people. Defense. Command. Buried. Deep. Her voice broke. I didn't know I could still use it. Jack looked at the fallen enemy. Remind me never to make you really angry. She gave a weak smile. Then her knees buckled. Jack caught her. Leary, are you okay? She nodded. Tired, but okay. Jack called his underground contact, Nessa, a hacker who owed him favors. They found you? She asked over the encrypted call. Yes, 3 bounty hunters. Full gear. Tracked through the crate, I think. Nessa cursed. If they found you. Once they'll find you again. You need to disappear. Jack looked at Leary, asleep in his arms. He nodded. Then help me vanish. Within hours, Jack and Leary were gone. The apartment was empty, trashed and burned. To the bounty network, the trail ended there. But far across the stars, in the dark corners of the galaxy, whispers began to spread. The human who defied the trade lords, the slave girl who fought back, the 2 who vanished like ghosts. As they hid inside a quiet transport ship, Jack looked at Leary. You saved me back there. She blinked. No, you saved me first. He smiled. I guess we're even now. She leaned her head on his shoulder. No, we're family now. But the galaxy wasn't done hunting them. This was just the beginning. Run for freedom. The stars outside the window stretched like white threads as the ship entered hyperspace. The hum of the engines echoed softly, a low lullaby beneath the silence. Jack sat on the edge of a narrow bunk, staring at the glowing coordinates on the display screen. He wasn't sure where they were going. He just knew one thing: they had to keep running. Beside him, Leary slept with her head resting against his arm. Her breathing was soft, her silver hair glowing faintly under the cabin light. She looked peaceful, but Jack knew her dreams were still haunted. Their ship, an old junker named Starhopper, had been rented from a smuggler who asked no questions. The controls were outdated and the interior smelled like engine grease, but it flew, and most importantly, it was off-grid. Jack tapped into his communicator and called Nessa again, his trusted hacker friend. We're clear. For now. He said. Nessa's voice crackled through. Not good enough. They'll keep searching. You 2 just became very valuable problems. Where can we go that they won't follow? There was a long pause. Then Nessa said, There's a place, a border colony. No law, no loyalty. Just people who hate the trade lords. They take in outcasts, refugees. You might have a chance there. Jack nodded. Send me the coordinates. Be careful, she warned. They won't stop. Leary's freedom humiliated them. That kind of shame. They want blood for it. Jack looked at Leary. Let them come, he said quietly. We're not afraid anymore. Hours later, Leary stirred. She sat up slowly, rubbing her eyes. Jack? I'm here, he said, holding out a water bottle. She took it with a tired smile. Where are we going? To a place that doesn't belong to anyone. No kings. No chains. Leary blinked. A free world? Maybe not perfect, but yes, free. Her eyes lit up. I want to see it. Jack smiled. You will. As the ship floated through silent space, Jack spent time teaching Leary how to pilot. She listened carefully, fingers steady on the old controls. See that? He pointed. That's a gravity pulse. Stay clear or we'll drift off course. Leary nodded. Like falling into a sky hole? Jack chuckled. Exactly like that. She grinned. Then I won't fall. Later, while fixing a broken circuit in the floor, Jack caught Leary humming softly. It was a tune he didn't know, something old, maybe from her lost world. He asked, What's that song? She paused, thinking. My mother used to sing it, before they took me. Jack didn't speak. He didn't need to. Instead, he placed a hand gently over hers. I'll protect your song now, he said. Leary smiled, a tear in her eye. Thank you, Jack. But their moment was interrupted by a sudden alarm. Jack rushed to the console. A message blinked in red. Long-range scanner, unidentified ship approaching fast. Jack's eyes narrowed. They found us again. Leary looked scared. How? Jack checked the systems. The smuggler. He must have sold us out. The enemy ship appeared on the screen. Black, sleek, and armed. They were outgunned. But Jack wasn't going to give up. Strap in, he said. We're not going down without a fight. The enemy ship hailed them. A voice came through. Calm. Cruel. Return the asset and we'll spare your worthless life, Jack replied. I told you before. She's not an asset, she's a person. Last warning, the voice said. Jack looked at Leary. Get to the back. There's an escape pod. If this ship breaks apart, no, Leary said. I stay with you. He opened his mouth to argue, but her eyes burned with courage. I'm not running anymore, she said. Not alone. Jack nodded slowly. Then we fly together. As the enemy ship fired, Jack made a sharp dive. Laser bolts flashed past. The Starhopper shook and groaned, but stayed flying. Leary grabbed the co-pilot seat. Show me what to do. Jack tossed her the controls. Redirect energy to the rear shields. Hold steady. Leary's fingers flew across the console. Jack smiled in disbelief. You're a natural, she grinned. I watched you, remember? Just before the enemy fired again, Jack hit a hidden switch. A pulse mine ejected from their tail. The mine exploded behind them. The enemy ship shook violently. Their radar disappeared. Did we? Leary asked. Jack checked the screen. Gone. For now. They both collapsed in their chairs, breathing hard. Leary looked out the window. The stars sparkled, and ahead. A green-blue planet slowly came into view. Is that it? She asked softly. Jack nodded. Yeah, that's our new beginning. They didn't escape just for survival. They escaped for something better. A life that belonged to them. No masters, no chains. And as they approached the free world, Jack whispered, Welcome home, Leary.